Today, we're exploring the key ideas from Never Split the Difference by Chris Voss. This is an independent educational overview, enriched with our own integrative analysis and actionable exercises. Think of it as a guided reflection to spark your own insights, not a replacement for reading the book itself. Introduction: Beyond the Bargaining Table. The conventional wisdom of negotiation, long enshrined in academic texts and corporate training, often posits a world where rationality reigns supreme. We are taught to separate the person from the problem, identify shared interests, generate objective criteria, and seek a logical win-win compromise. Yet real-world experience, particularly in the crucible of high-stakes situations, reveals a profound chasm between this idealized theory and the messy, often irrational reality of human interaction. A groundbreaking methodology, forged in the intense pressure of FBI hostage negotiation, offers a radical departure, proposing that emotion, not logic, is the true gateway to influence and resolution. This fresh perspective, born from the tragic failures of purely logical or forceful approaches, recognizes that humans are fundamentally emotional beings, whose decisions are often guided by instinct and subconscious drivers. Rather than suppressing these emotions, the innovative approach advocates for tactical empathy, a powerful, active form of listening designed to deeply understand and acknowledge the other party's worldview, feelings, and underlying needs. This isn't about sympathy or agreement. It's about a strategic engagement with their emotional landscape to build trust, diffuse tension, and ultimately guide them toward your desired outcome. From business deals and salary negotiations to everyday familial disputes, this emotionally intelligent framework offers universally applicable tools to transform how we navigate conflict, gather information, and achieve our objectives while affirming relationships. It's a call to reclaim control of conversations by mastering the subtle art of human psychology. The art of unearthing perspective. At the heart of effective influence lies a profound understanding that human beings are often more irrational than rational, yet their irrationality follows surprisingly predictable patterns. This insight forms the bedrock of a methodology developed in the most extreme circumstances, where understanding the emotional pulse of a situation is literally a matter of life and death. The objective is not to impose logic, but to engage with the emotional brain, recognizing that people primarily want to feel heard, understood, and safe. This deep psychological engagement is the essence of tactical empathy. To truly grasp another's perspective, one must first silence the incessant internal monologue that often dominates our minds in conversation. Instead of formulating rebuttals or rehearsing demands, the focus shifts entirely to the other person, approaching every interaction with a mindset of discovery rather than confirmation. This means actively seeking out what is often unsaid, treating initial assumptions as mere hypotheses to be tested and refined, rather than absolute truths. Imagine a situation where a child refuses to go to school, appearing defiant. Instead of immediate reprimands, a parent employing this approach might consider if there's an underlying fear or anxiety not immediately obvious. Central to this empathetic listening are several potent verbal techniques. Mirroring, a subtle form of imitation, involves repeating the last 1 to 3 critical words a person has spoken. When a colleague declares, "I can't possibly meet that deadline, it's just too aggressive," a mirror response of, "Too aggressive?" can subtly prompt them to elaborate, revealing the specific bottlenecks or anxieties without feeling challenged. This almost unconscious echoing creates a sense of similarity and encourages deeper sharing. Equally powerful is labeling, the act of identifying and validating an emotion or situation by giving it a name. Phrases like, "It sounds like you're feeling overwhelmed," or "It seems like you're concerned about the budget implications," Delivered with a calm, inquiring tone, work wonders. The true genius lies in the silence that follows. This pause, far from being awkward, creates a vacuum that the other party instinctively fills, often revealing the true drivers behind their feelings. For instance, labeling a manager's terse email as, "It seems there might be some frustration with the project's progress," can open a dialogue where they articulate genuine problems rather than you guessing at their mood. Neuroscientifically, labeling negative emotions helps to calm the amygdala, shifting brain activity towards more rational thought. The human voice itself is an underutilized instrument of influence. A calm, deep, and slow late-night FM DJ voice infused with downward inflection conveys authority and reassurance, making even non-negotiable statements feel safe rather than confrontational. This tone can be incredibly effective when addressing a difficult client who is making unreasonable demands. Conversely, a positive, playful, and easygoing tone should be the default, enhancing mental agility and fostering an atmosphere of collaboration. The direct, assertive voice, by contrast, almost invariably invites pushback and is best avoided. Perhaps one of the most counterintuitive yet liberating insights is the reevaluation of the word no. In traditional negotiation, no is often perceived as a definitive rejection, a failure. Here, it is celebrated as a crucial signal, a momentary assertion of autonomy that allows individuals to feel safe and in control. When someone says no, they are not necessarily rejecting the entire proposal. They might be saying, "I'm not ready," "I don't understand," or "I need more information." Asking, "Is now a bad time to talk?" instead of, "Do you have a few minutes?" subtly invites a no-oriented answer that paradoxically opens the door to honest engagement. It frees people from the pressure of offering a counterfeit yes, a superficial agreement made simply to escape pressure. The true negotiation often begins only after a no has been uttered, revealing the actual boundaries and deeper objections. Finally, the ultimate indicator of having truly understood another person's perspective is when they utter, "That's right." This is not a yes to your demand, nor is it the dismissive, "You're right," which often means, "I hear you, but I'm not convinced, now leave me alone." "That's right" signifies a profound acknowledgement that they feel completely understood, that you have accurately articulated their worldview, their feelings, and their underlying motivations. Imagine a parent summarizing their teenager's anxieties about an upcoming exam, acknowledging the pressure and the fear of failure. When the teenager responds with, "That's right," the emotional barrier dissolves, and a path opens for genuine problem solving. This affirmation signals an internal shift, an epiphany that moves the negotiation from impasse to progress, allowing for true influence and behavioral change. Mastering influence through cognitive levers. Once a deep understanding of the other party's perspective is established, the next stage involves skillfully bending their reality to guide decisions toward desired outcomes. This isn't about manipulation in a deceitful sense, but about recognizing and leveraging the predictable, emotional drivers that shape human choice, transcending surface-level exchanges to address unspoken needs and irrational thoughts. A critical starting point is challenging the widespread virtue of compromise, particularly the idea of splitting the difference. This seemingly fair approach often leads to suboptimal results for both sides, creating a mediocre outcome that neither truly desired. Instead, a successful negotiator understands that no deal is better than a bad deal, and true value creation lies in finding innovative solutions that go beyond simple division. For instance, if two colleagues are fighting over one specific laptop, simply giving them each half a laptop is not a solution. A better approach might involve exploring why each wants that specific laptop. Perhaps one needs its specific software, and the other needs its portability. Uncovering these underlying needs allows for a solution that provides full value to both. Time and deadlines are often perceived as absolute constraints, yet they frequently function as psychological bogeymen designed to induce anxiety and rush decisions. Most deadlines are arbitrary and flexible, especially those imposed by the other party. By resisting the urge to concede under time pressure and subtly probing the true nature of their deadlines, perhaps an internal reporting requirement or a desire to leave for the weekend, one can gain significant leverage. Interestingly, research suggests that strategically revealing one's own deadline can actually expedite negotiations, as it prompts the other side to act. The concept of fairness is a potent emotional trigger, frequently weaponized in negotiations. When someone asserts, "We just want what's fair," or "This is a fair offer," it's often an implicit accusation designed to induce guilt and concessions. The astute response is not to defend, but to gently probe, mirroring, "Fair?" and then asking, "It seems like you're ready to provide the evidence that supports that," can diffuse the attack and shift the focus back to objective information. Conversely, starting a negotiation by genuinely stating, "I want you to feel like you are being treated fairly at all times, so please stop me if I'm being unfair," establishes credibility and paves the way for honest dialogue rather than veiled accusations. Decisions, neuroscience shows, are fundamentally emotional, not purely rational. People with impaired emotional processing struggle to make even simple choices, highlighting emotion's indispensable role. Understanding these emotional drivers, such as a desire for recognition, security, or avoiding embarrassment, allows one to frame proposals in language that resonates deeply with the other party's true, often unstated needs. This is powerfully illustrated by prospect theory, which reveals that people are strongly motivated by loss aversion. They will take far greater risks to avoid a loss than to achieve an equivalent gain. To gain leverage, therefore, it's often more effective to persuade someone what they stand to lose if a deal collapses, rather than merely what they stand to gain. Several tactics can bend their reality to your advantage. 1. Anchor their emotions. Before presenting an offer, preemptively acknowledge all potential negative perceptions they might have about your proposal or your position. This accusation audit lowers their expectations and addresses fears, making even a modest offer appear more attractive through loss aversion. If a client is known for being budget conscious, you might say, "You're probably thinking this proposal is too expensive, that we're trying to overcharge you." This diffuses their expected reaction. 2. Strategic anchoring. While anchoring emotions low is effective, it's generally wise to avoid making the first monetary offer unless you have superior market intelligence. Letting the other side go first might reveal their true price, which could be higher than anticipated, or allow you to withstand an extreme anchor without immediate concession. If forced to make the first move, present a seemingly impossible high external price as a reference point. 3. Establish a range. When making a financial offer, present it as a range, with the lower end representing your actual desired amount. This appears less aggressive and can subtly shift their expectations towards the higher end of your range. For example, suggesting a budget of between $50,000 and $60,000 can often lead to a final agreement closer to $55,000, even if your internal goal was $50,000. 4. Pivot to non-monetary terms. When monetary negotiations stall, introduce non-monetary terms that are valuable to them but inexpensive for you. Perhaps a prestigious title, flexible work hours, or a public endorsement. This opens new avenues for creating value and breaking stalemates without further financial concessions. 5. Use odd numbers. Numbers ending in 0 often feel like temporary estimates or round figures. Using precise, odd numbers, for example 47,321 instead of 45,000, conveys meticulous calculation, firmness, and an impression that you've reached your absolute limit, making your offer seem more serious and less negotiable. 6. Surprise with a gift.
After weathering an extreme anchor from the other side, offering a small, unrelated conciliatory gesture can trigger the norm of reciprocity, subtly prompting them to respond with generosity. For instance, if haggling over a price, you might offer to pay for their coffee, unexpectedly shifting the emotional dynamic. By understanding and strategically employing these cognitive levers, anchoring expectations, leveraging loss aversion, reframing fairness, and using specific numerical and non-monetary tactics, negotiators can guide the other party's perception of reality, influencing their decisions and securing favorable outcomes while making them feel that they have actively participated in the creation of the solution.
Navigating the unseen. Black swans and behavioral certainty. Securing an agreement is merely half the negotiation. The true victory lies in ensuring its seamless and effective execution. This transition from yes to how requires the negotiator to become a decision architect, meticulously designing the pathway to implementation and anticipating every potential stumbling block. Simultaneously, profound breakthroughs often emerge from discovering black swans, the hidden, unknown unknowns that, once revealed, fundamentally transform the negotiation's entire dynamic. The concept of black swans, popularized by Nassim Nicholas Taleb, refers to events or insights previously considered impossible or unimagined. Information so critical it redefines the entire situation. In negotiation, these are the critical pieces of information you didn't even know to look for. Over-reliance on past experiences and expectations can blind negotiators to these game-changing details. For example, assuming a debtor simply lacks funds when, in reality, they are constrained by a complicated family trust is missing a black swan. Uncovering these hidden truths requires moving beyond conventional questioning and embracing an intuitive, adaptive, and intensely observant approach. Leverage, the ability to inflict loss or withhold gain, is profoundly multiplied by uncovering black swans. It is often an emotional perception and can be subtly manufactured. Positive leverage exists when you can provide something your counterpart explicitly desires. Negative leverage stems from your ability to make the other side suffer, e.g., exposing a secret. This is potent due to loss aversion, but must be used with extreme caution and subtlety. Labeling potential negative consequences is a safer approach than outright threats. Normative leverage arises from highlighting inconsistencies between the other party's stated beliefs, standards, or moral framework and their actual actions. For instance, if a company prides itself on integrity, pointing out how their current offer deviates from an industry standard they claim to uphold creates powerful normative pressure. Unearthing black swans often involves understanding the other party's religion, their core worldview, values, and emotional landscape. When someone's actions seem irrational, it's rarely because they are crazy. Instead, they might be ill-informed, operating on faulty or incomplete data, constrained, unable to act freely due to unrevealed limitations, e.g., internal company policy, a silent partner, driven by other interests, pursuing goals unrelated to the explicit negotiation, e.g., personal status, avoiding blame. The objective is to peel back these layers of assumption by asking probing questions, observing nonverbal cues, and focusing on inconsistencies. Crucially, calibrated how questions are instrumental in driving both consent and execution. When an agreement has been reached, instead of asking, "Will you do this?" a more effective approach is, "How will you implement this?" or "What steps do you plan to make this happen?" These questions gently refuse demands while compelling the other party to consider the practicalities and logistics, inadvertently guiding them towards solutions that align with your objectives. This fosters forced empathy, making them internalize the problems and develop their own solutions, to which they are far more committed. A buyer might say, How are you supposed to manage this change in product specifications without incurring significant costs? This forces the seller to think through solutions rather than simply agreeing. Successful execution also demands influencing all relevant parties, not just those at the table. These behind-the-table or level 2 players can covertly block or facilitate agreements. Calibrated questions like, how does this affect the rest of your team? Or how on board are the stakeholders not on this call? Can uncover these hidden influencers and ensure broader buy-in. To verify a counterpart's true commitment and detect falsehoods, observe communication subtleties. The 738-55% rule suggests that only a small fraction of a message is conveyed by words. Tone and body language carry significantly more weight. Incongruence between these elements often signals discomfort or dishonesty. A gentle label like, "It seems like there was hesitation in your voice when you agreed to that," can expose discrepancies without direct accusation. The rule of 3 involves getting the other party to agree to the same thing 3 times in different ways. An initial yes, followed by a summary eliciting a "that's right," and then a calibrated how question about implementation. This repeated affirmation is difficult to fake and uncovers insincere commitments. Additionally, observe pronoun usage. Frequent I, me, and my can signal a lack of actual decision-making power, while we, they, and them might indicate a savvy decision-maker keeping options open or deferring to an unseen committee, or even an attempt to distance themselves from a lie, the Pinocchio effect. Humanizing yourself is also a powerful tool. Using your own name in a friendly, humorous way, "Could you do a Sarah special on this?" can foster forced empathy, making the other side see you as a person rather than an adversary, softening the dynamic and potentially leading to more favorable outcomes. Furthermore, learning to decline offers without a direct no can strategically lead to more favorable execution. Deferential, "How am I supposed to do that?" or empathetic statements like, "Your offer is very generous, I'm sorry, but that just doesn't work for me," often prompt counterparts to bid against themselves, continually lowering their demands without the negotiation ever breaking down. Finally, to effectively uncover black swans and ensure execution, prioritize face time. Email allows too much time for guarded responses. Direct human interaction, whether in person or via video, reveals crucial nonverbal cues and fosters genuine connection, making it easier to spot inconsistencies. Pay special attention to unguarded moments, the beginning and end of meetings, casual conversations, or unexpected interruptions, when people's facades tend to crack, revealing invaluable insights.
Integrative Analysis and Implications. The insights gleaned from high-stakes crisis negotiations fundamentally redefined the very essence of influence and agreement-making. This approach marks a profound departure from traditional rationalist models, asserting that true effectiveness stems not from logical argumentation, but from a deep, strategic engagement with human emotion and psychology. It champions an intellectual martial art of listening, where understanding the other person's perspective, their religion, their fears, their hopes, and their unstated needs becomes the ultimate leverage. The methodology's core strength lies in its universality. While born in life-or-death scenarios, its tools are profoundly applicable to everyday interactions. A parent negotiating screen time, a salesperson closing a deal, an employee seeking a promotion, or even resolving a neighborhood dispute. Every moment where one party wants something from another involves negotiation, and these emotionally intelligent tools equip individuals to navigate such situations with greater finesse and success. At its heart, this framework is about empowerment through empathy. It transforms the perceived adversary into a potential collaborator by making them feel genuinely understood, respected, and safe. By strategically deploying active listening techniques like mirroring and labeling, negotiators diffuse hostility, build rapport, and gently invite the other party to reveal the hidden information, the black swans, that can unlock breakthrough solutions. The shift from demanding a yes to inviting a no, and the pursuit of "that's right" over a superficial "you're right" are emblematic of this paradigm change. They recognize that real commitment and behavioral change emerge from internal conviction, not external coercion. Moreover, the approach meticulously dissects the subtle cognitive levers that shape human decision-making. By acknowledging the power of loss aversion, strategically using anchoring, understanding the manipulative nature of fairness, and mastering the art of calibrated questions, individuals can subtly bend the other party's perception of reality. This is not about deceit, it's about intelligent framing and appealing to predictable human tendencies. The illusion of control created through calibrated questions, where the other party feels they are driving the conversation while subtly being guided towards your desired outcome, is a sophisticated application of this principle. The emphasis on execution is equally critical. A yes without a clear how is ephemeral. The systematic approach to verifying commitment, anticipating obstacles, and identifying behind-the-table influencers transforms a fragile agreement into a robust plan. This proactive stance ensures that the hard-won concessions translate into tangible, real-world results.
Ultimately, this commentary offers a powerful lens through which to view human interaction, not as a battle of wills to be won or a puzzle to be logically solved, but as an opportunity for profound discovery and collaborative value creation. It encourages individuals to embrace uncomfortable conversations, to view conflict as an information-rich environment, and to transform perceived adversaries into partners. By mastering these psychologically astute principles, individuals can not only achieve their goals more effectively, but also build stronger, more resilient relationships, fostering an environment where clarity, understanding, and mutual respect pave the way for successful outcomes in all facets of life. It is a testament to the idea that pushing hard for what you believe in, when done with deep empathy and an insatiable curiosity for the unknown, is not selfish, but a path to creative beauty in life's many inevitable conflicts. Actionable Exercises. 1. The Empathetic Listener's Workout. This exercise helps you practice the foundational skills of mirroring and labeling, enabling you to build rapport and uncover hidden information in everyday conversations. These tools are your entry point to understanding others deeply. In your next few casual conversations, whether with a colleague, friend, or family member, practice mirroring. As the other person speaks, subtly repeat the last 1 to 3 critical words they've just used. Do it with a curious, inquisitive tone, not like a parrot. Notice how often they elaborate, revealing more about their thoughts or feelings without you having to ask a direct question. Practice labeling. Listen for the underlying emotions in their words or tone, e.g., frustration, excitement, hesitation, or concern. Then use a gentle, inquiring phrase like, "It sounds like you're feeling emotion," "It seems like situation," or "It looks like perception." Follow your label with silence, creating a space for them to confirm, correct, or expand on what they've said. Reflect on how these small changes in your listening and speaking impact the conversation. You'll likely find people opening up more and feeling more understood. 2. The Calibrated Question Challenge. Shift your default questioning style to empower others to solve your problems while feeling in control. Calibrated questions are open-ended and avoid simple yes or no answers, moving conversations forward collaboratively. For the next few times you need to make a request, get clarification, or navigate a minor challenge, avoid can, is, are, do.
Instead of asking, "Can we meet at 3 p.m.?" reframe it. Embrace what and how. Formulate your question using what or how. For example, what challenges might we face if we meet at 3 p.m.? Or, how can we make sure this meeting time works for everyone? For a problem, ask, how can I help you make this happen? If someone is resisting, instead of demanding, ask them to articulate the path forward. What needs to happen for you to be comfortable with this approach? Practice your tone. Deliver these questions with a calm, curious, and collaborative voice. Remember, you're asking for their help to find a solution, not challenging their stance. Observe how these questions encourage deeper thought and a more engaged response, often leading the other person to propose solutions that align with your goals. 3. Inviting no for honest dialogue. Many people fear hearing no, but it's often a gateway to genuine understanding and deeper commitment. This exercise helps you leverage no to gain clarity and disarm defensiveness. In situations where you're seeking to start a conversation, test a hypothesis, or check for hidden concerns, first, start with a no-oriented question. Instead of, "Do you have a few minutes?" try, "Is now a bad time to talk?" This simple shift gives them control and makes a yes feel like a genuine choice. Test by mislabeling. If carefully. If you suspect someone is holding back, try intentionally mislabeling an emotion or situation. E.g., "It seems like you're really worried about this project failing," when they might actually be worried about something else. This often prompts them to correct you, revealing their true concerns. Ask what they don't want. Sometimes it's easier for people to articulate their boundaries than their desires. What do you want to avoid in this scenario? Or, what parts of this plan are you not comfortable with? Embrace the no as valuable information. It helps you understand their boundaries, what's truly important to them, and what obstacles exist, allowing you to address real issues rather than perceived ones. 4. The "That's Right" deep dive. Eliciting "that's right" is the ultimate sign of profound understanding and rapport. This exercise combines active listening skills to achieve a breakthrough moment where the other person feels truly heard. Choose a slightly more significant conversation, perhaps a disagreement, a problem-solving session, or a negotiation with a family member or colleague. Active listening. Fully engage, using mirroring and labeling as you listen intently to everything they say, including their underlying emotions and perspective. Summarize their world. Once they've finished, articulate the world according to them. Paraphrase their thoughts, feelings, and the motivations behind their statements. Frame it as, "So if I'm understanding you correctly, you're feeling emotion because reason, and what you're really looking for is underlying desire, solution." Aim for "that's right." Deliver your summary calmly and non-judgmentally. Your goal is for them to respond with those two powerful words. If they correct you, accept it gracefully, adjust your understanding, and re-summarize until you hear "that's right." Achieving this affirmation unlocks trust and opens the door for genuine influence, as they now believe you truly understand their perspective. 5. Bending reality with loss aversion. Most people are more motivated to avoid a loss than to achieve an equivalent gain. This exercise helps you strategically frame your proposals to leverage this psychological principle and influence outcomes. For a small negotiation or persuasion attempt, such as convincing a friend to try a new activity, a family decision, or a minor business discussion, first, identify potential losses. Before you propose your idea, consider what the other person might lose if they don't agree to your suggestion or if the current situation continues. Frame your proposal around avoiding loss. Instead of highlighting what they gain, articulate how your idea helps them avoid those identified losses. For example, instead of "let's try this new restaurant, it'll be great," try
If we don't try this new place, we might miss out on a truly unique experience and end up with the same old mediocre meal again. Introduce a gift. If you're negotiating a concession, consider adding a non-monetary item that is valuable to them but inexpensive for you, e.g., and if we go with my idea, I'll also handle all the tedious parts, or I'll take care of all the planning. This signals you're invested and can trigger reciprocity. By focusing on what they stand to lose or offering an unexpected token, you can subtly shift their perception and make your proposal significantly more appealing. That wraps up our exploration of today's book. If even one idea here gave you something to reflect on, give it a like so YouTube knows to share more with you. And if you'd like the next insight in your feed, hit subscribe. Remember, what you heard today is our independent interpretation, enriched with analysis and exercises. The full book has far more depth, so consider reading it to experience the author's work directly. Thanks for listening to DeftU Insights, where we turn great books into tools for growth.